with Ganpati Bappa, Moria. I'm sure you must have all said Moria when I said this. So, why Ganpati Bappa? Because he is the Aryadya Devat that we all Hindus pray to. He is the ambassador for our organ donation because he received the elephant head and his own father was a surgeon. So he represents every good thing that we do and we start with his name. So Ganpati Bappa always. So when I said Ganpati Bappa, naturally you must have all said Moria. So this thing is like it comes naturally to us, you know, when we say Ganpati Bappa, everybody says Moria. Nobody has to teach this. This situation, what is what we want to have in the case of organ donation too. Okay. Now, what exactly is organ donation? Organ donation is a donation that we give after death or in case some live also. And when a recipient, when a person who is sick with some ailment in the kidneys, liver, heart, lungs, anything, and now supposing if you're having a two-wheeler or four-wheeler and that person's his vehicle is not working, then what you do, he will go to the garage and then the mechanic will say that this part has to be changed. So what happens is, if it is changed, if it is repaired somewhere, it is fine. It is has to be changed. He will go to the spare part shop and get it changed. In human beings also, this is the same. If we are having some ailments, we go to the doctor, and if he is curing us with the medicines, it is fine. Otherwise, what he will say is, you'll have to get a transplant done. Okay. So now this is what is organ donation. And a person suffering from end stage disease, that is, there is no alternative for him other than getting an organ by transplant. That is how we have to help the patient by organ donation. So it saves many lives. So why are we harping about organ donation all the time? Why there is a need for organ donation? Now, this figures that I'm showing you here is a waiting list of patients registered only in the city of Mumbai. Since I am in Mumbai, I'm giving you these figures. These patients are waiting. As per the blood group, you will see how many patients are waiting for the organs. And this is not only that the people who know about organ donation and that they are aware that they can get an organ from somewhere, those people have registered. There may be number of people who do not know about such thing happening, like there is some way that they can get organs. Now this is only the city of Mumbai that is registered patients. There may be so many in Maharashtra, Karnataka and Goa and all the other states of India. There are lakhs of people waiting. Now, this lecture, I will be taking it in two parts. When I finish the first part, I will give us chance for people to answer some questions about that section, and then I start the next section. Okay. Now, death. It is not that we are talking about the death actually today. It is we are talking about the donation that comes with it. Okay, now there are two types of death. It is not that, Are Baba, oh, he has met with an accident and he has like, you know, chindi ho gaya uske badan ka, and he is not, it's a very bad thing that he died this way. And some people die in the sleep and they are like, oh, he has a good death, you know, he's went off in the sleep only. So that is what happens is like, there are two types of death. That is emotionally, that is what we say, but technically and scientifically there are two types of death. So we have to check those things. One is the natural death and one is the brainstem death. Okay. uh, so in the natural death, what happens is the heart stops beating. uh, Divya, there are some people who are in the waiting room for this meeting. So do I admit them? Sorry for this disturbance.
Yeah, yeah, you can. I have told Preeti. Preeti is also doing the. You can please,
Okay,
please continue.
okay, okay. So in natural
I
death,
think
what
since
happens?
Meera ma'am is the host, she only has to admit everyone.
Yeah, okay, I can do it. No issue. I can do it. No issues. Yeah. So in case of natural death, what happens is the heart stops beating. It may be due to a heart attack, due to a cardiac arrest, or old age illness is there. Old age is there, illness is there, or some other reason the person dies. And why? Because his heart stops beating. In this case, what happens is all the organs in the body, they die within 3 minutes of a heart attack. When the heart stops beating, all the organs in the body, they die, and at such times we cannot donate anything. Okay, now what we can donate, I can explain to you. In brainstem dead, I'll take in the next session. Now, which organs can be transplanted? On the left, you can see there are kidney, hearts, liver, lungs, pancreas, intestine, and hands. These can be donated in the case of brainstem death. And in the natural death, in the cardiac death, you can donate bones, skin, and eyes. Now, there are two types of donations. One is a living person. A living person can donate a part of a liver or one kidney. Because we have 2 kidneys, we can donate 1 kidney, and our liver, we can donate only a part of liver, because liver is the only organ which can regenerate by itself within a few months. So the part that we have donated in live donation of liver, that also regenerates in the patient's body. Now this can be given only to the closest relatives like a spouse, father, mother, son, daughter, brother, sister, or now grandparents and grandchildren are also allowed. So for this, we need the certificate, and we need a certificate or the permission from the authorized committee as per the law. Then second, I said the heart, when there is a heart attack, we agree. And then the third is brainstem death. So I explained to you about this. The organs can be the tissues that we say is eye, skin, bodies, bones, and body. We have to donate this within 6 hours of normal death. Okay, you can donate all this within 6 hours of natural death, because after 6 hours the body degenerates, like it becomes very bad, and then nothing can be taken, and it is of no use. So we have to donate this within 6 hours of death. And this donation, the team can come at home. The eyes and skin can be collected and harvested from home itself. You don't have to take the person back to the hospital or anything. You don't have to shift the patient back. In case of death in the house also, we can come and retrieve it in the house. And in case of death in the hospital, if the hospital people allow, we can take the skin and eyes in the hospital itself, if the hospital allows. Otherwise, we can collect it from home also. Now, everybody knows about what is the importance of eye donation. We have 2 corneas. Only the corneas are taken. Now, due to the scientific evolution, so much things have happened and so much good things have happened. So we don't have to remove the whole eyeball. What we do is we just remove the cornea. That is a transparent film-like thing is there in our eyes, which is removed, which allows us to see things. So that is removed, only that is removed, and there is not even a sign that the eyes are donated, the corneas are donated. So there is no disfigurement or anything like that. So this gives sight. So 1 cornea is given to 1 person. So with our donation, 2 people can get sight. Now about skin donation. Skin donation, why skin donation? So in India, at least 70 lakh people have burn injuries in a year, and about 1.4 lakh people die every year. Now this, at least 50% of this could have been saved if there were enough skin donors. And this 70% of people who are getting burnt are from the age group from 15 to 35 years. So that is why. Now, why is important? Why skin is so important? The skin, you will see that it is the first line of defense. It protects us from everything like the sun hair, rain hair, cold, winter, everything. It protects us against all the infection. It is a waterproof, and it helps us like wave off all the infection that is going to enter our body. It has so much of things that we really don't take care of skin sometimes, but it is the most important part of the body. Then if it is damaged severely, then what happens? The defense mechanism breaks down. So if we don't treat that, then there can be bacterial infection, there will be dehydration, there will be loss of protein and electrolytes, and then finally the victim dies if it is not treated on time. So this is how the skin is so important. So the skin is the most largest, it is the largest organ of the body. Now, how does the skin donation help? Skin donation helps by reducing the pain. Now, you must be aware. So, whenever we are working in the kitchen or something, or anything happens, we get a small burn or something, how painful it is for us to bear it. So, just imagine the person who is burnt 30%, 40%, or more than that. What happens to that person is having severe, severe pain. And then he cannot bear the pain. So what the skin, donated skin, when we use that for the burn patient, it reduces the pain by more than 80 to 90%. It decreases the infection of the person and the survival rate increases a lot. By this, what happens is it lessens the stay of the patient in the hospital, and naturally the cost of treatment also reduces. Okay. Now how it lessens this? Because now, supposing for a treatment of a burn patient, you need at least 8 to 10 months for treatment. So what happens? That number of days or months stayed in the hospital, the medicines and all those things will increase the cost of treatment. Here, if the skin donated is allowed, if it is treated with this donated skin, it reduces almost 50% of the time. So within 4 to 5 months, the person can be normal, go back to his normal routine and take care of things. Now this can be a little disturbing, but these are the facts of life. So the skin, the cadaveric skin as we call that, the skin donated, we can use it in burn treatment, diabetic ulcers, orthopedic traumas, road traffic accident, bed sores, and any infected wound. The skin can be used for all these purposes. So as the eye, the skin also has to be harvested within 6 hours of death. Now we have around 8 layers of skin. Okay, now what we see is only the first layer, that is a superficial layer is taken from the legs, thighs and back. It is not from the whole body as people would think. So from the shoulder till our waist, the skin is taken from the back and from the thighs up to the ankle. Only the first layer of the skin is taken. So there is absolutely no bleeding, no disfigurement. Nobody will also know that the skin has been donated. And the wonderful thing is that for the eyes and skin to be transplanted or to be helped in somebody, so there is no matching required for this. So that is the advantage of eye and skin donation. Now, who cannot donate is there are some contraindications like malignancy is there, cancer patients, lymphoma like leukemia. There are skin sexually transmitted diseases, jaundice, skin infection, sepsis or the pus, what you say, bacteremia, pneumonia, or if there is any respiratory infection, HIV and HBsZ positive. And in case of drowning cases also, we do not take any donations. So the skin donation is actually a very, very simple procedure. Now first the consent from the family is taken of the donor. The consent family is taken, the signature is taken. Then we take a blood sample because we have to check all the procedures we have to do, and we have to check if there is any infection the patient had. So if there is an infection, the skin is not used for any treatment. Now the skin is used here, it is cleaned with betadine first, and then later on with a dermatome, that is a battery operated thing. We remove the skin of the donor and then we bandage the part from where the skin is taken, and with total dignity and respect, we hand over the body back to the donor family. So there is absolutely no disfigurement and there is no bleeding. So that nothing can be like, it doesn't look bad or anything. So just a little more about this. This is how the skin is stored. It takes about 40 days for the total procedure. This is the fridge where we keep the samples of the skins that are taken, and then it is gone for testing. Then it is measured and cut, and then it is made into a mesh this way. You have seen the roller bandages, right? So it is made into a type of roller bandage so that there is air circulation and the skin, the healing is very, very fast. This is just applied on the patient's body. Now this is a hand injury. So this,
Excuse me,
this
ma'am.
is a leg injury.
Meera, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry to disturb you, but there are a few comments on YouTube that the screen cannot be seen properly on YouTube. So can we enlarge it?
1 second.
Yeah.
Is it okay now?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, so this is a injury, leg injury, where we have transplanted, we have applied the donor skin. Okay, now, so that is how the healing takes place. Now, this is a back injury of a person. You can see how much he has burnt, and this is how the skin is applied to his back and how the healing takes place. Now, this is the third case. This is a hand that was burnt, and again, this donated skin is applied, and see how the healing takes place. And then this is the last figure is about how the hand is healed totally. You can see the difference and how well the hand is healed. Now this person had a chemical burn injury. His total back was burnt, and this is how we had treated him. They were with the donated skin, and this is how his back has totally healed. Okay, so this is how the skin donation helps. It's really wonderful, and the burn patients really benefits out of this. Now, as I said, I have already gone through this, that who cannot donate eyes and skin. Okay. Now, anybody has any questions regarding this section? Then I move on to the next brainstem death. For anything about eyes and skin donation, these questions are welcome.
I think, ma'am, we'll continue because we are still looking at the questions and the queries. We can take everything in the end. Yeah.
Fine. No issues.
Thank you,
no
ma'am.
issues.
Yeah.
Now, what is brainstem death? The brainstem death is the irreversible loss of consciousness and respiration. Now, there is a 1.5 inch brainstem at the base of our skull here, which controls the respiration and consciousness of the body. Okay, now if anything is affected, this brainstem gets affected, the person becomes unconscious and is unable to breathe. So what happens in such cases is, if such patient is held, like even if you have a small fall in the bathroom or at home, in the kitchen, wherever it is, or on the road, or if you have an accident on the road. So what happens is the person becomes unconscious, is unable to breathe. We take that person to the hospital. And what happens is the doctors check, his breathing is not there, he is unconscious. So what happens is they put him in the ICU, where he is supported by the ventilator. Now, what does this ventilator do? This ventilator helps in the person to breathe, but it is all artificial breathing. Okay, his lungs are kept breathing, the lungs are supplied with oxygen, and the heart is kept pumping so that the oxygen and the blood supply to the body and the organs are continuously given so that this person can survive. But then there are many things that the checking is done, the brain stem is not working, it is dead. So the brain is totally dead. In such cases, what happens is the person is dead, but his body is kept alive because of the ventilator. His heart and lungs is supporting the organs which need blood and oxygen for being alive. Now the person is dead. How it is detected is, it is detected only in the ICU. You cannot detect this at home. So the hospital, which is registered with the government for transplantation, and these doctors, they take the testing with the connected to the brain, and then brain symptoms, brain functions are checked, and then they declare if he's breathing. Can you see me all? Because I think somebody's connection went off.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Continue, please.
Yeah. Okay. So now this test is repeated again after 6 hours. and then the doctors declare the person as the brainstem dead, and then the like the relatives and they are approached by the doctors there and the counselors for further thing, for the organs donation. Now, is it legal? Many people ask if it is legal. Yes, it is absolutely legal, because India was considered to be the organ trading country of the world. So in 1994, the government of India has taken out a rule of Human Organ Transplantation Act, and it is made it that it can regulate it for removal, storage, and transplantation of human organs. No organs can be bought or sold. This was the rule that was taken out. Now you must be wondering who is in, controlling all this. Now it is under the government of India, under the state government. It comes under the Directorate of Health Services, which is again taken by the ZTCC, that is Zonal Transplant Coordination Center. Now Zonal Transplant Coordination Center is where the people, whoever need the organs are registering with them, okay, through the transplant hospitals. Now these ZTCC, they put the people whoever need the organs on the waiting list. There is a scoring system, and they put them on the waiting list according to the how many years he is on dialysis, what is his condition, age, etc., etc. Now they are authorized. They are the only authorized organization who can distribute the organs. Nobody else can. All the hospital who receive a donor, brainstem death, if the family is ready, if they receive a donor, then ZTCC is informed, and then they are distributing according to the waiting list of the people. Okay. So now this ZTCC is in charge of distribution. So in between, we used to get those messages like, on WhatsApp, okay, 4 kidneys are available, help save somebody's lives and all. It is all fake. Please do not circulate this. I must have got that message because I'm into organ donation at least 200 times. So this is all fake. The organs are not distributed in such way. Every state has an authorization of distributing the organs, and nobody else can distribute. Not even the hospitals. They have to inform the ZTCC, and after that only it can be distributed. Okay. Now the ZTCC is in charge of all this distribution of organs. They take reporting from the hospitals, and all the coordination is done. They are training the new coordinators, and all these duties are of Zonal Transplant Coordination Center. Okay. Now we have Roto and Soto. Now this is this was in the state level, okay, and the region level. So now we have state, region, and national level also. Regional organ and tissue transplantation organization, that is Roto, and same way we have state also. So, and in Maharashtra, we are having under us, Maharashtra is having under us 7 states: Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Gujarat, Goa, and Diu Daman and Dadra and Nagar Haveli. So all this comes under Maharashtra state. So Maharashtra is a Roto. So now this, what is the advantage of this is, I tell you, that when the organ, if anybody needs an organ, when he registers, so it goes on the national list. So wherever an organ is available, if that state is not using it, it can pass on the organ to another state. So that is also a system that has come up now, and it is very advantageous. Now, Green Corridor. You must have heard about Green Corridor. Why it is created? Because the organs are, when it is retrieved from a donor's body, it has to be transported and it has to be transplanted into the recipient's body. So what happens is it has to be very fast. Why? Because organs are having very less time for its survival. So heart has only 4 hours, lungs have 6 hours, liver is 12 hours, and kidneys 24 hours. Now within this 4 hours, this 4 hours is not for the time of transplantation only. Removing from the donor's body, transporting it to the other hospital, and transplanting it into the recipient's body is only 4 hours. Otherwise, the organ goes bad. So that is why these green corridors are created, where the local police, the traffic police, they all help us to clear the traffic, hold the traffic for a few minutes, and then pass the ambulance which is carrying the organs. So next time you are held on the signal, please don't get irritated. Just feel that somebody's life is being saved, and some organ is going. So these are a few pictures of green corridor where the organ is going in the ambulance. See how the police is helping us. So now we come to the body donation. Many people say that आप हमारा सारा बॉडी ले लो और आपको जो ऑर्गन्स चाहिए आप ले लो. आई एम रेडी टू गिव माई फुल बॉडी, एंटायर बॉडी. बट दैट इज नॉट पॉसिबल. When your normal death is happening, so we can take only eyes and skin, bones, and the body can be given for donation. Body donation is done for the anatomy study of MBBS students, medical students. They have to study the anatomy of that. And this can be given only to the municipal or government hospital or a medical college within 6 hours of death. Now, supposing you cannot reach within the working hours of the hospital, then you can keep it in a morgue or in a deep freezer, body freezer, and then you can go the next day and give the body for donation. Okay, again there are some contraindication, like that person should not have septicemia or due to hepatitis and dengue, TB, gangrene, or whatever it is, and the body should not undergo a post-mortem. Then that such bodies are not allowed for body donation. Now, in case of brainstem death, what happens is, so what is the difference between the organ donation and body donation? Body donation can be done within 6 hours of normal death. Okay. And organ donation can be done only when the patient is in the ICU on the ventilator. Okay. Now, skin and eye can be donated before body donation, whereas in organ donation, all the vital organs, skin and eye also can be donated. Now, in this case, in case of body donation, we have to take the body to the hospital or the medical college, whereas in organ donation, the body is already, the donor is already in the ICU in the hospital, and all the procedures are handled by ZTCC. Whereas in body donation, ZTCC is not involved. Even in eye and skin donation, ZTCC is not allowed. But in case you want to contact them for this, they will help you definitely by guiding you to the right person. So after the body donation, you will not get the body back for the regular relatives, whatever funeral rites you have to do. You will not get the body back. In case of organ donation, you will get the body back for all the rituals that you have to do. So role of transplant coordinator is very huge. The doctors, the nurses, the staff, everybody is working, but it is the transplant coordinator who is the main person behind all this. He has to do multitasking. He has to coordinate with the donor hospital, the donor family, recipients, because one organ donor can give life to 8 people. So 8 recipients and their families he has to contact, different hospitals he has to contact, then the anesthesia teams and the retrieval teams and the transplant teams, etc., etc. He has to arrange for the surgical OTs and so many things. ऐसा लगता है ना कि 20 हाथ चाहिए और 20 कान चाहिए. There is so much of work and coordination that the transplant coordinator has to do. So we actually deal between, we are really battling, and there is a belief that happens with these people. It's very sensitive issue that we have to deal with the donor family, because our role starts when the life ends. And it is a very, it's like walking on thin ice. It's very difficult to convince those people because they are in grief, they are in anger, their loved one is gone, they are in depression. So we have to deal with so many types of emotions, and then we have to be so careful about how we talk and what we talk to with such people. So there are different stages of grief. You know, they are angry because their loved one is gone and they can't accept that the loved one is gone. Why they cannot accept is because they can see that on the ventilator, the person is there on the ventilator, his heart is beating, the ECG is going on, the heartbeat is showing, and then you are saying the person is dead. They deny it, they can't accept it. And later on, when we explain to them properly, they then accept it, and then they get ready for organ donation.
हे चालू असताना जाऊ शकता तुम्ही. इथे ही जी लिंक होती ना त्याने झालं.
अच्छा, ते नुसतं हे करायचे काय?
So there are exact.
Excuse me, I please request people to please mute yourself. Your sound can be heard. And it's looking very bad over here.
So there are absolutely no fundas about how we handle the donor families. Every case is different, and every family we need to talk differently and convince them about organ donation, eye or skin donation or body donation, whatever it is. Okay. Now I shall tell you about hand transplant. Hand transplant is never heard of by anybody. Okay. So now this hand transplant we can do in Mumbai also we can do. And I think in Kerala it is already being done. Hand transplant can be done because people who lose their hands and it can be joined because brainstem dead donor can give the hands and they can get new hands because of the brainstem dead donor. This is a very difficult task. It is as tough as a liver transplant. It is a 16 to 18-hour long surgery in which 25 tendons, 6 nerves, 2 arteries, 5 veins, and 2 bones have to be rejoined. At least a team of 20 to 25 doctors are involved in this and how this hand transplant is done. So we can transplant even hands. So that is a new relief for the people who have no hands. That can also be done. Now you can see this first two pictures where there is first picture is of Manu who was traveling in a train from in Kerala, and in the compartment there was a newly wed couple and there were some rowdy boys who were teasing them. So Manu intervened and out of anger those boys pushed him out of the running train. He fell down and on the other track, the another train was coming, he lost both his hands. Manu was without hands for many years and he was very frustrated. He was depressed and he tried to commit suicide many a times. His brother heard about the hand transplant from Dr. Subramani Iyer. You can see this doctor here in the blue shirt. So when he heard his interview and he took his brother to the hospital and they said that they can do his hand transplant, and that is how Manu got his hands. And Manu is a very normal person doing all the normal things. In fact, he has started working as a counselor for organ donation in the same hospital where he got the hands from. In the next two pictures, you could have got this picture. It was quite viral. This is the person in the black coat. He is Abdul. He was a soldier in Afghanistan and he has lost his hands because he was into the detecting of landmines. One of the landmines burst off and then he lost both his hands. He came to India after hearing Manu's case and he got his hands. You can see this lady in white sari and black blouse. That is the lady's husband who had donated his hands. They had donated the hands to Abdul and that is the daughter. This picture had gone viral because you see those people are not looking at Abdul at all. They are looking at his hands. So how proud and how satisfied they are by donating the hands. So just imagine what amount of satisfaction you will get when you donate something. So the role of NGOs and CSR, the NGOs like you will help spreading awareness about this as you're already doing now. You can participate in any events that are there, any events that is there, you can put a counter of organ donation. You can do coordination for the donor. You can do trainings for people, volunteers who are interested. You can, people who have pledged their organs, you can go to their families, talk to them if you need to. This is a teamwork we all have to put together and do it. You will have to clear the misconceptions and misunderstandings that are there and you have to need to build trust. I'll come to the misunderstandings and misconceptions what happen in our, especially in our country like India. So where we can spread word, you can write about it, talk about it, give out pamphlets, arrange camps. We have the social media, which is the biggest technological thing that we can use with. In your neighborhood, your colleagues, friends and relatives, in your family, you can talk about this and spread the word. Where can you start spreading the word? Anywhere and everywhere. We have started from school level now. From 9th standard onwards, we are talking to the kids about organ donation. This generation kids are very, very smart and we don't need to explain much to them. They are really very smart. You can go anywhere and spread the word about it. These are just a few examples that I have done the projects. I don't even remember now how many I have done. So the media earlier was not helping in spreading the awareness for organ donation. Now it does. It really gives us a boost for organ donation. Just of this thing. So anyone can donate organs. There is absolutely no discrimination of caste, creed, or color. Anybody can donate organs. I'll give a small, before I give the small picture of what the donations were since the time 27th March 1997 was the first donation that had taken place in the state of Maharashtra. Then the kidney transplant was done by Dr. Vatsala Trivedi. Since then, these were the figures that were there. Before that, I want to touch a very sensitive thing is about why people don't do organ donation. There are so many myths connected to this. So many of them is like, andhashraddha as we say. It's totally that. It's totally that. People feel that abhi is janam mein aanखें दे दी, अगले जन्म में अंधा पैदा हो जाएंगे. इस जन्म में किडनी डोनेट कर दिया, अगले जन्म में विदाउट किडनी आएंगे. Now these religious gurus, with due respect to them, all these religious gurus, they have their own versions of organ donation. Why? So when we need, they say that मोक्ष नहीं मिलेगा. अगर organ donation कर देंगे तो हमें मोक्ष नहीं मिलेगा. But think about it. God forbid if we require any organ from now. Okay, what happens? We run pillar to post asking kahan se milega, how fast can we get, what is the thing that we have to do to receive the organs faster. We don't think at that time the person who the organ will not get mukti. Do we think about it? We don't. At that time no superstitions comes into us. There is nothing that will hold us back in receiving an organ. But why does it come when we are giving away? It's our selfishness, absolutely our selfishness. These gurus teach us that sharir nashwar hai, atma amar hai. And this sharir is going to be burnt or buried. It is going to be ashes, mitti ho jayega. Then God has given us another chance. All your life you do donations or you don't do donations. But after you're dead, you still have a chance to donate things. You can get moksha. You will get moksha. I don't know about hell or heaven, but you give life to at least 8 to 9 people, and those are the blessings. This is the punarjanam. You don't know what is going to happen in next 2 minutes. How can you talk about punarjanam? Even if you have a punarjanam, okay, believe in it, believe in punarjanam. Do you think we are going to get back our same organs that we have lived with? No, we are going to get all new organs, customized, branded, everything, fantastic organs we will be getting. So why not give? Why not? You're going to burn it or you're going to bury it. So why don't you give before you bury it or burn it or make it into ashes? So if somebody is benefiting, 2 people will get sight. A burnt person will get some life back. They have saved his life. 8 people from Bainstead will get a new. So this is how you're going to live in people. This is your punarjanam. Don't think about all the superstitions. It is wrong. Okay. So now this is just a chart. You must have gone through this, the number of donations that we were having till 2017. After that, there was some increase in this. And in this 2020, we all have gone through a very bad patch since our lockdown started in the month of March. You can see the figures in 18 and 19. 19, we had a very good result in organ donation. And in 2020, we had stopped organ donation or organ transplant. We had no awareness. Now it is all started online, like we are doing awareness and all that. But since the month of March, some months the organ transplant was totally stopped because we didn't know how to act in that. But now the doctors and now all the authorities have put in some transplants have started. So these are the figures in 2020 that has come. Now I want to say here very proudly that since the COVID times, we have done around 27 transplants. Okay, 27 organs were transplanted. And in that, about care workers were involved. This includes the doctors, the nursing staff, the cleaning staff, the ambulance drivers, everybody, the transplant coordinators, everybody. And fortunately, none of them have had any issues with the COVID. None of them have contracted this coronavirus, and everybody is fine. The patients are fine. No problem to anybody. So really, really proud of our healthcare workers who have done wonderful in this times of COVID. And there is again hope that this organ transplant has started. So people who are waiting for this can again have a new life very soon. This is what I was explaining to them. So in this 27 transplant, there were 10 donors, 15 kidneys, 10 liver, and 2 hearts. Okay. So now there are some facts and figures that myths that I want to clear. They will say that, is there any chance? There is absolutely no chance. Brain dead is brain dead. अभी जैसे बोलते हैं हम ये बाबा का प्रसाद मंगा रहे हैं, इसका तीर्थ मंगा रहे हैं, भस्म मंगा रहे हैं. It is all our faith. It is all our emotion towards the person sick. Okay, but this brain stem death will not serve. It is not a coma. In coma, the person can be revived. He revives even after 2 years, 3 years or so. But in brainstem death, there is absolutely no chance of any revival. And then it is said that the organs are given only to the rich. No, it is not. It is again a myth that it is given to only the rich people. No, even the poorest person also gets an organ, and it is there in the municipal hospitals. And for the money, because the money is not in the picture at all in the waiting list, the financial status is not given of any patient. Okay, so in this, people are always transplant, because transplant does cost a little more than what we really think. So there is absolutely no disfigurement after organ donation, just a small cut, like a surgical cut, and the body is handed over to the relatives. So if the family agrees for organ donation, the donor will not be receiving good care. This is what is said. In fact, if the family agrees for organ donation, the staff of the ICU has to take more care. Are really, really of good quality. If the organs are of good quality, then only they are transplanted. So this utmost care has to be taken by the ICU staff. So will the donor experience any pain in the process? In many lectures, I get this question. This is just an emotional feeling that we have. You know, we have seen so many times when the funeral procession is going on, people hold umbrellas of the dead body and all that. This is just our emotion that plays a part, nothing else. So as I said, talk to you about this rebirth and all that. No compensation is paid absolutely to the organ donor's family. Nothing is there. Absolutely. It is a donation. It is totally free. And whoever gets the organ is also not charged. Nothing is charged from the recipient's family also. So all the religions support organ donation. I would like to tell you one more example. I have had many examples and many experiences of people refusing donation after saying yes the first time. One of my friends' uncle died, and she asked me to contact her cousin so that they were interested in eye donation. So I requested them I talked to them and convinced them for skin donation too. And it was early in the morning, and I coordinated with all the teams, and they were to reach there within 20 minutes. And then I called the person back saying that the teams will be reaching within half an hour and it's already on the way. Those people said that now we are not interested in donation. We are sorry, we don't want to donate anymore. So it is a very challenging situation for us. The loved one is dead and I can't argue with them. You had said yes or no. We cannot argue on such issues. So I just wanted to know that what is the reason for saying no. I respect your decision, and then I just want to know the reason. They said that our Guruji has come and he said that as you are born, you should go back in the same way. Now, is it possible? Are we the same since our birth? What happens if we lose our limbs or our hands in some accident? What happens if the lady has a breast cancer and her breast has to be removed? What if her uterus has to be removed? What in men, some intestines or something has to be removed by surgery? We do have. At that time, do we think? We just think about saving our lives. We don't think that we will not get mukti or moksha or anything, right? So why this? Do we ask your guru when you need an organ? Will you go to him for his suggestion? No. So, but then again, they said, when they said this, I respected their decision. But this is very challenging. It is really, really very challenging. हमारा धर्म नहीं मानता है, हमारा जात में ऐसे नहीं होता है. But this is what I keep trying to tell. But God forbid, if you need, you will run for it. So all the religion in the world support organ donation. This is a donor card. Above 18 years, anybody can pledge their organs. Keep this donor card with you always, like you keep your credit card. Most important thing, it is not, your duty is not done when you're pledged for an organ donation. No, your duty is when you tell your family about it. You have to tell your family, your best friend, your nearest relative that you have pledged for organ donation, that you want to donate your organs and it is your last wish. If nobody knows about it, what is the use of you pledging? Nowadays you have mobile, everybody is saving the numbers. Save the number of the coordinator, save the number of the nearest eye bank and skin bank and the hospitals that are nearest to you who can guide you about this, or the local ZTCCs in your state. You can do that. Contact them. I'm always available. We coordinators are always available 24/7. Anytime you can call us and ask for any guidance that you require. So when you pledge, please tell your family first about this. If they are saying no, try and convince them. Tell them why you want to donate it. So you're already knowing now why you want to donate organs. So yes, say yes to organ donation. Don't take your organs to heaven. God knows we need them here. So let your heart and brain decide soon about organ donation. Pledge your organs. What will you get? What will you get? You will get blessings unlimited.
Can a diabetic person donate?
Yes, diabetic person, person with blood pressure, person with cataract, they can donate eyes and skin. That is no issue. And in case of brainstem death, at the time of death, they will see, they first check the organs, how good it is, what is the quality of the organs, and then only they take it out for transplant. Otherwise, no.
Do they require a written consent from the donor of the body or for organ donation, for body donation or organ donation? Do they need a written consent?
Yes, the consent form is there at the time of donation. The hospital people have the consent form where the nearest relative of the donor has to sign. There are 2 witnesses that are required. They need to sign. And at the time of body donation also, one person, the nearest relative has to go, the whoever is there, and they have to take the documents. So at the time of body donation, and they have to go to the municipal hospital or the medical college there and then hand over the body. The consent form is required where the hospitals will take it themselves. For organ donation, the hospital will themselves do it. They will give you a consent form and you have to sign it. And you have a choice of you want to give all the organs or you want to give some particular organs only, like kidney, liver or heart only, or you...
Even after cataract surgery, can you donate the cornea or?
Yes, yes. Cataract surgery is anything, you can still donate your corneas.